Everything you see here is strictly informational. This is not a channel for you to be taking financial advice from. I am not a financial advisor. I am not a broker. I am just a person that is here recording my journey about learning the markets along the way. So please do not consider me a financial advisor. Do not risk any more money than what you have. Do not be borrowing other people's money. Do not do anything stupid that you're going to regret later with your money. Alright guys, how's it going? So we went through gold, we went through S&P. Now I want to take a look at EURUSD, only because it was an interesting end to the week last week, and it had an interesting end to the week this week. So we're going to go through my analysis. I threw some analysis on TradingView. Luckily they published it. Got me quite a few followers. People are saying they like my analysis, so hopefully you guys do too. But yeah, what I like to do is I like to go very far back and see if we can't hone in on what is actually happening. So let's take a look at what is going on with EURUSD. So this right here is probably a decade-long trend line that we got going on, which I had mentioned, maybe not last week, but I did mention this in my TradingView. This big white line here. Let's turn it to something else so you understand what I'm talking about. Let's make this a little red line. Why not? This red line right here has basically been going on since, when was it, 2008. The highest it got. Believe it or not, I was actually in Europe for the first time ever, where I wasn't around this time. Actually, it was probably around, it was late 2008, early 2009, because I was spending my time over in England, and we went to Europe, and I want to say the December, January, it was going to say it was more on 1.6. Maybe not. Looks like it was around 1.4. Either way, it was really high. I put in my debit card, and I wanted to take out $100, and it only gave me about 60 euros or something like that. And I was like, man, this sucks. But anyways, so if we're taking a look at this decade-long trend line, I'll probably have to get, there's probably a lot of muddled stuff right here because that's what's been happening right now. But if we want to take a look at and see what's going on here, let's just get rid of some of this stuff and I can redraw it later. So what had happened last week is, we are going week by week, is what had happened last week with this is that it had gotten above, right, this trend line. And so I thought, okay, it's a false breakout. What happened this week? The exact same thing. It got above the line and it came right back down pretty much to where it started. It actually went a little bit lower too. What exactly is happening? So my prediction was that since it got above it, we're probably going to see a huge push down. And the reason I thought we were probably going to see a huge push down, and I'll get into the nit-grit of it, of what's happening here. I'm in the 1 hour now. Let's go to the 4 hour. Is that I'm pretty sure we all remember this is the part of COVID that is happening right through here. This big up and down kind of wave was the news of COVID. It was actually probably around February. Jumped up, spiked down, kind of did a little bit of nothing. And then we started seeing this, and then we kind of got this piece here, right? And that piece there was interesting to say the least. So, it just kind of acted as like a sideways movement. And then all of a sudden toward the, this has been happening the last couple weeks, is when we've been seeing this interesting development happen, right? So a lot of people probably thought it was going to smack the top of this. this, I guess you could say, resistance point, or even this resistance point, and go back down. Now, what we did see happen is I have all these little lines drawn out to act as support and resistance. We got the blue line here, so whenever this did come up to this support line, or resistance line I should say, hit it, looks like it made a little bit of a retracement, right, and then fought its way through. What it do to the next resistance line, which would be from this main part right here, let's get rid of this, this yellow line here, and touching the top of this one, it looks like it went through that one, right? It really didn't have much of a retest on that one, to be honest. It hadn't, I guess it kind of did, but what more mainly happened was that it came up to where this white line was. It kind of faltered in between both of these, right? Came up, let me get rid of this. This is kind of like an order block that I was talking about. It came up, and it struggled here at this point for a long time, retraced, and what became resistance then, or support then, was this little orange dotted line here. So there's these areas here to where it broke above support, hit a resistance, broke above support, hit a resistance, and then it just took off, right? And there has not really been a solid support as far as since it broke. And so it just kind of continued making its way up. It'd make little dips here and there, which I guess you could say is support and resistance, but it really never retested this this one that you would think would be a huge support. It still has not retested that. It just kind of completely drove through it. So that kind of surprised me. So then it continued on. If we threw, a Fibonacci on it the last time, it made like a little low before it broke through this resistance, now turn, I guess, support. I don't even know if it's support yet. To the top of where we are now. This was last week's, right? I thought since last week it retraced down and it got under, and you see this white line here. This white line, I guess we can turn this to red, since we're on this red line here would be, I guess, be the same red line as here. That is going to be your decade-long trend line. So it broke above that last week, and then it fell below, giving us the sensible false breakout. So it started off the week as going up, right? Kind of coming close to this, and then it dropped, right? So that was my, and I had an entrance somewhere in through here. Once I saw it start to drop, I manually entered, to be honest, and watched it go. I think it was around 40 pips. That was my TP1, and then I saw it start breaking the other way. I had TP2 set about 80, and it didn't quite make it there. So it looks like around, 70 something pips. Because I was looking for this to retrace back all the way down to this white line. I was hoping I would hit this and then come all the way back down to this part right here, which is a good 300 pip move. I thought that was honestly what was going to happen. Now, we didn't see that happen. Instead, what we saw, we saw this happen instead. And I don't even know if you could really even call that support and resistance. Because this right here is just kind of like almost like an order block. I wouldn't even say an order block. It's just, the last time it fought downwards. Now, smart money, I guess you could say, yeah, this is where, they thought it was going to go up. The banks decided to push it back down. Take out a lot of buyers that were in the area that had their stop losses set down here, continue upwards. So to be honest, that would actually make a pretty good sense, to where you would want to put a trade, um, in. But considering those kind of things also happen, see, here's another point I have marked, where I thought this would probably break back down to, especially this one here. This for sure is where I thought it was at least going to come back to, if it did not break all the way down to this 1.147 type area. Just because of all this selling pressure that was happening right here. And there was kind of no rhyme or reason to it. It just kind of seemed like it hit that, and even then, at this point, we did not have the 618 level. So how does it know it's hitting the 618 level unless, a lot of people, I guess, kind of do put, their fibs, and then, they'll draw it to where, if somewhere's having some struggles, they'll say that's the 618 level, they'll measure up, and then they'll probably predict that this is where is going to be the new, 1 level is. But even still, it just kind of struggled at this area. And usually when you have a big, you kind of had some order blocks going in through here, in this area here. And then usually whenever you see a big candle, a big bullish candle like this take off, this one here, it usually likes to retrace at least 50% of that bullish candle. And it looks like it did. It looks like it retraced about 50% plus more. This is telling me that there's smart money in play, or there's big banks in play. It means they had some, and it actually did come down and test this low, or test this, this selling power that was right here. So banks forced it to come back down. They were holding positions here. They got out of their positions, moved it back up, and now you do have some selling pressure here. Usually when you ever see the selling pressure, we could probably maybe break it down to a 2-hour level to see if they did come back in. Here's that big drop. Here's that big up. Yeah, I guess you could kind of see that 2-hour selling pressure come back in, test this, and then take off. Now, the thing is, like I said, you still have this. You still have some sell positions that are here that have yet to be mitigated, that have yet, which means banks are probably still holding some sell positions somewhere in this area, in this order block. And we have yet to come back and touch it, which was why I think that was one of my TP2s. I want to say that was the part that was somewhere around 80 pips from, well, actually a little bit more than that, about 170, 180. I'm still thinking it has to come at least down to this point before it sells off again, or before it starts buying again. And maybe even then it hits that, it comes back up, it retraces to this. So here, let's just get rid of this Fibonacci. So I'm still thinking this is a false breakout, because again, it did close again below this decade-long trend. We have 2 times, and we have a double top, right? So double tops usually mean there is a lot of liquidity sitting on top of there. So what I'm saying is that there are a lot of people with stop losses sitting at the top of these, right? Or not stop losses, but entries. And if their entries sit here, stop losses probably sit just above that. Maybe not that well. Yeah, a good 60 pips. It'd probably be about that far apart. What's going to eventually happen is it's going to move right through that. But what you also have down here is you have kind of an area of equal lows as well, right? So you have 2 equal lows here. You also have some areas of equal lows here. Well, I wouldn't say equal lows, but there is just a good area to where people are probably expecting the market to go, especially since it is there right now, to where they're going to start buying again. This is complete speculation. My guess is we are going to see, as you can see, it started buying up toward the end of the market on Friday. So if I'm going to speculate, I am going to guess, and again, this is my speculation last week. It did not happen. Don't take everything I say for a grain of salt. But, I think we could see it come up, probably come back down, fiddle around in this area a little bit, go right through all this, snap this, right, this one point, come right back up, snap this, come right back down to this area that we still have yet to mitigate. That way they can get rid of their selling positions that they're still holding in this area over here. Still holding a lot of selling positions in that area right there, right? And then we should probably start seeing it come back up, hit here, maybe bounce back down to here, maybe come up through here, bounce back a little bit, and then what it's going to do is it's probably going to fly right through that area and just take everybody out that's holding so many, so many, sell positions that are right through here that they're thinking are not going to take through. That's what the banks are going to do. They know all your money is here, so they're going to come right through it and just take it. So my speculation would be, to be fair warned, I wouldn't bank on this as being your end all be all, especially if it comes to it a third time. If it comes to this line a third time, you might want to think the banks are going to be in power at this point and they're just going to push right on through. And that's if it doesn't even come down through here. What we could see is we may not even see this come back down. Who knows? Maybe whenever this was happening, and I'm thinking, they're maybe still holding some sell positions. Maybe as they're buying, they're getting rid of the sell positions at the same time. Maybe that's why it took a long time to get out of there, and it didn't completely get out of there like it did with this little area right here, right? That little area right there, there was a lot of buys. It was a buy to a sell to a buy. It was obviously a sell to a buy, because if we want to zoom in a lot closer on this, it is just a flat bottom candle. There's no wicks on it whatsoever. If you just look at that, there's no wick on it. No wick on that red candle whatsoever. So it just sold, and as soon as it got to that point, it was boom, buy. So and that's what banks do. They sell to buy. They sell to buy. But they did mitigate it. This candle right here is a mitigation candle. So, which means that whenever, they were starting putting these selling positions right here, everybody was selling. They were selling. And then, because this doesn't even look like too much of a resistance level. Yeah, there's a little bit of resistance, but you would think it would have turned around right here. Instead, it pushed a little bit further down, got back up, and got out of the way. So, in case in the fact that it does not come all the way back down here, what I do believe that we could probably see is, instead of it actually coming back up and bouncing off this, decade-long trend line, we could see it come straight through here, bounce through here, and then, well, let me get rid of that one because that one wasn't really supposed to be there. Could come up through here and then just take out everybody through here. So those are the two things that I'm going to be watching for with EURUSD this week. Get rid of that too. We could see it play around. I got to get rid of this damn brush mode. But, a double top means a double top. You can make some money off a double top, but don't expect it to be a triple top. After the triple top, expect some other things to happen. They're going to come in, take out your money, but I wouldn't expect too much out of it, especially when, especially if you check out some divergence. So what we can do is check out 4-hour divergence and see what's happening. So as you can see, this one hit, when this one hit, it hit really high. Right, the second one is down here. So we do have quite a bit of divergence, which means it tells me it is probably going to be going to the downside. Even though we started buying up at the end, at the same level that we started buying up at the end here, The last time it was at this price at 1.180. After it hit this double top to 1.180, yeah, it was probably somewhere around the same price of divergence, or as far as the RSI is concerned. But the peak is what concerns me. We had a peak right here that was higher than the one right here, but the strength of it in the RSI was a lot lower. So what we're seeing is this dive, and even here, you had here from here, right? And let me go ahead and remove the extend right. You had the here from here, which went from here to here, right? So you flattened off as far as the strength is concerned, even though it got higher. So now you have this here to here, right? Same price, less strength. So somehow you had this strength of, you had that most strength here. You had to go into a higher price. I mean, you're from this point to this point, you have lost a lot of strength, right? I'm thinking we're going to see a huge sell-off, probably down to this area down here before it again goes higher. Now, if we do see this huge sell-off, I would again watch this divergence, because what we could also see happen is on the back side of this, right, is we could see, let me get this brush out, we could see this fall, do this, do this, do this, do this, hits here, comes back up, makes everybody thinks it's going to buy, and then go back down, all the way back down again. Those are the kind of scenarios I'm looking for. Again, I'm going to watch the price. I'm going to watch to see what happens in the very beginning. I'll see if it's going to be one of those things, to where if it starts buying right away, to see what kind of gap we're going to have when the market opens here in about 45 minutes. But we'll see. Who knows? It's the EURUSD, I think, is going to be one to watch this week, and as well as maybe some others. I think maybe GBP USD could be another one to watch. It's not as interesting as the EURUSD, just because it doesn't have that huge it does have this decade-long trend line, but the thing is that we haven't broken that trend line just yet. We're still playing around. This is the weekly chart here. We're still playing around in this zone here. So there's a lot of resistance that's happening right here, and it still can't seem to break through it. So this whole area, right through here, you're seeing a lot of selling pressure. And see, whenever we get to this height here, you can see on the RSI, it got way oversold, and the same thing, you see it got way oversold. You see it made a little bit more of a spike up, right? Got a little bit higher than what it did last time, but when you take a look at the RSI, oversold. The next time it made a spike up, it lost a lot of strength. So I think we're going to see probably another major drop here. It still had that same kind of weird formation that the euro did. So I think we could possibly see, and see I have the boxes mitigated out, to where I think we'll probably see something come in more along the lines of it, retracing back to an order block like right around here, or if anything, you got these levels here of let's see here, what is this here? Oh yeah, I have the alert here because I have a feeling once it gets down here, it's probably going to buy, or right around here, it's probably going to buy. I even had this one marked out. It did buy from there, and I missed it. So, we just have to continue watching to see where it's going to drop before it's probably going to end up buying again. Yeah, I was so actually, I think I did have that one set, but I just missed it by a few pips. Generally because once they hit those those big drops, that's where the probably should have set it right there, to be honest. Once you have those 4-hour candles, those last candles down, that's usually the bank coming into play, trying to push the market in the opposite direction, just so they can get it down. Just so the retail sellers will start selling. They'll get it low enough, they'll get rid of that position, and then they'll buy and take it the other way, and they make more money. They take out the retail traders, and then they laugh at you. So think like a bank whenever you trade. Think about whenever, because if the market were perfect, it would always be going the same direction all the time. Unfortunately, it takes other people to take other people's money. It's primarily the banks that are going to take your money, and you have to think like how they're going to think. All right, so that's all the time I got right now. Thanks for listening to my GBP USD and primarily the Euro USD. I think those are two that are going to be interesting to watch this week, and we'll see what happens. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys soon.